Power is not inherited. It is engineered. Most people walk through life exposed, their emotions on display, their vulnerabilities easily exploited. They react. They explain themselves. They beg for validation. This is the psychology of the weak. The elite operate under a different set of laws. They understand that to become truly untouchable, you must first master the art of absence. You must become a phantom in the minds of others. Someone who is physically present, but psychologically out of reach. When people cannot predict your next move, they cannot manipulate your next action. Predictability is a death sentence. Mystery is absolute leverage. If you are ready to detach from the noise and claim your psychological dominance, write the phrase, "I am untouchable," in the comments below. Let it be the contract you sign with your own mind. True strength begins the moment you refuse to defend yourself against petty accusations. Weakness speaks. Strength observes. When someone attempts to provoke you, they are fishing for an emotional reaction. They want to see your boundaries. They want to see what makes you bleed. If you offer them anger, you give them a weapon. If you offer them silence, you give them a mirror. There is nothing more terrifying to a manipulator than an individual who looks them dead in the eye and feels absolutely nothing. This is not passive compliance. This is calculated psychological warfare. By remaining entirely neutral, you force the aggressor to confront their own inadequacy. They expect a fight. Instead, they find an abyss. You must learn to treat social friction like bad weather. You do not argue with the rain. You simply carry an umbrella. Most individuals confuse kindness with weakness. They believe that by pleasing everyone, they will secure loyalty. This is a fatal delusion. In the harsh reality of human nature, people do not respect those they can easily walk over. They exploit them. Machiavellian philosophy dictates that it is infinitely better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Fear does not mean tyranny. Fear means reverence. It means establishing boundaries so absolute that the mere thought of crossing them causes hesitation. You must develop the capacity for selective cruelty. This does not mean inflicting mindless harm. It means possessing the terrifying ability to cut people out of your life completely, without a single explanation, the moment they disrespect your peace. When you show the world that you are entirely willing to walk away forever, your value skyrockets. To achieve this level of dominance, your internal world must resemble an unassailable fortress. Stoicism teaches us that we do not suffer from events, but from our judgment about those events. Someone insults you. That is a vibration of air particles. It possesses no inherent power. The power only exists if you accept the insult and allow it to fester in your mind. The moment you stop caring about external opinions, you become dangerous. You no longer fit into the societal matrix of reward and punishment. You cannot be bribed with flattery, and you cannot be broken with criticism. You become entirely self-contained. Consider the people around you right now. They are drowning in a sea of trivial anxieties. They lose sleep over text messages. They panic over minor setbacks. To stand above them, you must cultivate an unshakable, icy calm. The most dangerous person in any room is never the loudest. The loudest person is desperate for attention. Attention is a cheap currency. True power is quiet. Power is selective. Power is strategic. When you enter a social space, your primary objective should not be to impress, but to observe. Listen to the cadence of their voices. Watch the micro-expressions on their faces. Notice who leans in when a specific name is mentioned. Everyone is constantly leaking information about their insecurities, their desires, and their fears. If you speak less, you hear more. You gather the raw psychological data required to influence the environment around you. When you finally choose to speak, your words must carry the weight of an executioner's axe. Few, sharp, and undeniable. This level of mastery requires absolute emotional detachment. You cannot afford the luxury of impulsive reactions. If a situation goes wrong, your instinct will be to panic or lash out. You must override this biological programming. Pause. Step back mentally. View the crisis as if you are a grandmaster looking down at a chessboard. Every problem is merely a puzzle waiting for a cold, logical solution. Anger clouds judgment. Grief paralyzes action. Pride blinds strategy. Strip away the emotion and look at the raw mechanics of the situation. Who benefits from this chaos? What is the immediate threat? What is the long-term opportunity? By remaining detached, you possess a massive competitive advantage over an emotional populace. Look closely at your current circle. Wealth, status, and intelligence mean nothing if you lack the psychological fortitude to protect your energy. If you are surrounded by individuals who drain your focus, complain constantly, or subtly undermine your ambitions, you are poisoning your own well. You must be ruthless with your association. High-value individuals do not tolerate low-vibrational environments. If this realization hits close to home, cut the dead weight in the comments. Let it serve as a psychological anchor for the purge you must execute in your social circle. True phantoms do not seek validation because they are their own highest authority. Society has conditioned you to seek approval from your parents, your peers, your bosses, and strangers on the internet. This conditioning makes you weak. It places the keys to your happiness in the hands of fallible, selfish people. Break the keys. The only metric that matters is whether your actions align with your ultimate vision of power and self-mastery. When you achieve this level of internal sovereignty, you become an enigma. People will try to figure you out. They will try to find your price. They will fail. Because you cannot buy someone who already owns themselves. You walk through the world untouched, invisible in your true intentions, but undeniable in your absolute presence.